it everything you hoped for?
Jury's still out.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top things you missed in The Last of Us Episode 2.
I never ask you for anything not to feel the way I felt.
For this list, we're looking at the best references, Easter eggs, and foreshadowing from the second installment in the post-apocalyptic series. If you haven't seen the first 2 episodes or played The Last of Us games, beware of major spoilers ahead. What was the scariest moment of this terrifying installment? Let us know in the comments. The second episode basically confirms a viral fan theory. After The Last of Us premiere aired, Reddit user Anagnost suggested that flour was the reason the world got infected so quickly.
Where's the pancake mix?
Oh, was that? Yeah, it was. Sorry.
I was gonna make you birthday pancakes.
I swear.
You know, I don't really like pancakes.
The internet sleuth pointed out that Joel notably didn't eat pancakes, the birthday boy forgot to get a cake, and the neighbor who turned consumed biscuits. A second user named Real Steamed Ham pointed out that the city of Jakarta produces a huge amount of flour. Not only was the city referenced in the first episode, but it's where the episode begins. Additionally, when a doctor is trying to get information about where people got infected, she's told that they worked with flour.
Jadi kapan ini terjadinya, Pak?
Kurang lebih 30 jam yang lalu, Bu.
Di mana?
Di pabrik tepung dan gabah di barat kota.
These details seem to suggest that a common baking item may have ruined the world.
Jadi tolong dengarkan saya baik-baik. Tidak ada obat. Dan tidak ada vaksin.
The series broke records by not actually shooting in Boston.
Whoa.
Yeah, looks different in the daylight, huh?
The second episode takes great advantage of its Boston setting by featuring stunning looks at an overgrown city and more than a few glances of the famous Massachusetts State House. But the most incredible aspect of this location is that they didn't go to the US city to get the footage. As it turns out, The Last of Us filmed a bulk of its scenes in Alberta, Canada.
They hit most of the big cities like this. They had to slow the spread somehow.
According to CTV News, the show made history by being, quote, the largest television production in Canadian history. The production crew did a great job of making Alberta into a perfect double for Boston. As the series travels to different parts of the US, Canadian fans might just spot some familiar sights.
So the State House is across there. It's about a 10-minute walk if you could go straight.
So,
Long way or short way?
Calling pop culture superfans everywhere. Do you love to argue with WatchMojo's top 10 ranks? Introducing WatchMojo's first and very own party game. Bring your superpowers to the table and fight for your pick to be at the top of the list. It's all the fun of the comment section, but in real life. Our 3 main heroes all dodge relationship questions. When Ellie is asked about her past, she completely fails to mention her friend Riley.
So it was just you in there alone?
yeah.
Since they had romantic tension in the game, it's pretty much a given that the show will also adapt that story. The script further hints at their history by having Ellie quickly dismiss the prospect of a boyfriend.
Nobody's gonna be coming after you, right? Like mom, dad, boyfriend.
I'm an orphan, and no.
But she isn't the only one being cagey about a relationship. When the first Last of Us game released, fans had questions about the nature of Tess and Joel's relationship.
What are we doing here? This is not us.
What do you know about us? About me?
While it was left ambiguous, many assumed they were romantically involved. The show slyly references this burning fan question by having Joel outright shut down any questions about him and Tess.
So, you two,
Pass.
At the same time, a scene in episode 1 did briefly show them sharing a bed. Although Ellie will likely reveal the truth about Riley, fans probably shouldn't expect clear answers about Joel and Tess. Foreshadowing the Enemy Types. Both the game and the show make it abundantly clear that staying silent is essential to surviving an encounter with the dangerous clickers.
Okay, from this point forward, we are silent. Not quiet. Silent. Whoa. No questions.
However, that's not the only thing survivors have to worry about when they face one of these infected enemies. Throughout the Last of Us games, players have to be prepared to alter their strategies to deal with different types of clickers. Ellie gave a pretty terrifying rundown of the various kinds of enemies that she and the others will likely have to deal with during an innocent conversation.
Everyone said the open city was crazy. Like swarms of infected running around everywhere.
Not exactly like that.
You know, people like to tell stories.
Since she accurately predicted the clickers we saw in episode 2, we can expect more enemy types from the game to appear. It's pretty much a given that the extremely durable bloater enemies will show up. Additionally, the show could look to the second game and bring the disgusting Rat King enemy to live action. Based on how difficult it was for Joel's group to take down 2 clickers, advanced enemy types should be a huge problem.
Some last about a month or 2. But there's others been walking around about 20 years.
The second episode had a significant behind-the-scenes talent. We were ecstatic to see that Merle Dandridge was portraying Marlene on television after voicing and providing motion capture for the same character in the games.
My name is Marlene. I'm the leader of the Fireflies in the Boston QZ.
Why would you terrorists dump me with Fedra?
Because it's where you'd be safest, and you were safe there until you decided to sneak out.
Fortunately, she wasn't the only creative talent to be present in both mediums. When it came time to choose a director for the Infected episode, Neil Druckmann stepped up to the plate.
People do their best work when they're passionate about what it is that they're making. If that wasn't the case, I'd be working on Crash Bandicoot 17 right now. We decided to take a risk.
He served as the creative director for the 2 main series games and the Left Behind story. Druckmann's familiarity with the tone and characters of the games definitely shone through in the episode. Hopefully, it won't be his last time behind the camera for a live-action series.
It was kind of thrilling. You know, in trying to build a world, you often write and define more than what the player's going to experience, so they don't see the edges.
Ellie's extra bite happens much earlier. Ellie's casual reaction to a fresh bite was a hilarious way to break the tension of a dark episode.
I mean, if it was gonna happen to one of us.
While the moment seemed like a natural part of the story, this event didn't originally play out the same way. In the first game, Ellie doesn't get a second bite during the museum encounter, but she does get uncomfortably close to an infected's teeth in the sequel.
Look. Joel. This is real.
When a twisted human threatens to throw Ellie into a clicker's jaws, she accepts the challenge. She throws them both towards the creature and shakes off another bite in an incredibly badass scene. We would love to see the show adapt Ellie's escape one day, although she might not be a fan of getting a third bite.
You're not immune from being ripped apart. You understand? It's important. I'm trying to keep you alive.
Tess goes out fighting a different enemy in the games.
I'm staying. I mean, our luck had to run out sooner or later.
Watching Tess reveal that she had been bitten by a clicker was devastating in both mediums. But this tragic turn of events ended very differently between adaptations. After Tess is bitten in the games, she offers to hold human enemies back to buy time for Joel and Ellie. She ultimately loses her life in a shootout. When the sequence was adapted for TV, the human enemies were traded in for a horde of clickers who do not care about personal space. Tess gets away with one last act of defiance by blowing up the State House while taking tons of enemies with her.
What are you doing?
Making sure that they don't follow you.
This plot change nods at the clickers' weakness to fire. But more importantly, it brought Tess's storyline to a more explosive end. A huge animal Easter egg.
What are you doing?
It's all right. Come here.
One of the most iconic scenes in gaming history in the 21st century saw Joel and Ellie coming across a giraffe in the wild. The scene was praised for its unique nature, optimism, and symbolism about hope in the midst of a bleak world.
So, is everything you were hoping for?
While we didn't see the real deal in episode 2, we got a strong hint that we'll see a gentle giant soon. Eagle-eyed viewers will be able to spot a stuffed giraffe toy among the ruins of the city in episode 2. Although the characters didn't seem to notice it, we have no doubt they will stop in awe when the real giraffes appear.
Is it everything you hoped for?
Jury's still out. But man, you can't deny that view.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.